OneDrive is part of the Office 365 suite, but also is part of the cloud technology both on the business and the personal side of Microsoft. It was formerly known as SkyDrive. Now it's called OneDrive. I think it was actually called something even before SkyDrive. But you can find OneDrive here on portal.office.com. You can see it's this tile right here. It says OneDrive. You may also come over here and see OneDrive on your hard drive. So if you notice, I've got 3 different OneDrives syncing to my hard drive, which takes a lot of hard drive space, by the way. But I can see I've got one here for Last Mile Worker. I've got my personal one, which is tied to my greglush@outlook.com account. It's the largest one. And I've got one for QMerit. So each of these OneDrives serve the same purpose. They simply take files from a local store, they contain them here, and they synchronize them up to the cloud. Now, by default, you can set a lot of your tools, your internal Word and PowerPoint and all that, to save to your OneDrive for Business, which means that anything that you do automatically saves up to your OneDrive location on the cloud. So here in Word, that many of you are familiar with if you've used it over the years, you could see that I've got many places that I can choose to save. Now, my primary domain is this Last Mile Worker, so you could see it wants to save it there in Last Mile Worker. So you could see Greg Lush at Last Mile Worker. I could save it right there in OneDrive. I could save it in the QMerit OneDrive, my personal one. I have another one for a board I belong to, and I can also save it to sites. Now, sites are part of SharePoint, and this is where it gets a little tricky. Is if you look carefully at the icons just to the left, you'll notice that all of the business items, QMerit, Last Mile Worker, sites, these 2 sites, all have this S icon, which actually stands for SharePoint. SharePoint and OneDrive in the corporate environment are the same thing. They're a file management system. But in your personal side, I've got 2 personal accounts here, my Greg Lush at Outlook and this OCR board at Outlook. They're both public side accounts, so they're represented with a different icon. It's kind of cool. So what you need to do when you first set up and you start thinking about OneDrive and you start thinking about saving files and all that kind of stuff, you need to make sure that your places are here. So you could see I've added my places here. I come out to Office 365 if I want. I've already got these. I go to OneDrive itself. It's going to ask you to type in your email address, and bam. Once you do that, by default, your files, when they're saved, will be saved down into a local OneDrive account. The cool thing is, and it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little green dot next to each of these folders. It means that these folders are synchronizing automatically up to the cloud, which means that you never have to worry about saving things anymore, and you can access these files from literally anywhere. Now, some of the limitations of OneDrive are, if I go back out to portal.office.com, I closed it accidentally, and I'm going to sign in here with a different account. So sometimes you have to sign in with different accounts. So here's the area. I'm just going to enter in my account so I can show you how this works. So I'm going to go into lastmileworker.com. And my password was saved, which is not always recommended, by the way, but it is convenient. And now I'm in here, and I'm going to bounce into OneDrive. Now I'm bouncing into OneDrive via the OneDrive Office 365 application, which is pretty cool. So I can discover different things that are trending, etc. But these are the same things that reside down on my hard drive. They're the exact same things. So they are being synchronized automatically between the cloud. You can see the match here. They're automatically being synchronized between anything I put on my local drive and the cloud. So If you set up your Word and Excel and all that to hit the right places, you no longer have to worry about backups. It just does it for you automatically. It's very cool. So that's OneDrive, simple file storage.